Welcome back to StarrSoap's channel. How are you today? I'm doing good. I'm Crystal Starr and I'm the Queen Soaper here at StarrSoaps in the Taranaki in New Zealand. We're coming into autumn here in New Zealand and there's been a lot of crickets. Today I want to soap the rainbow. That's right. I saw a video where a lovely lady was attempting to make soap dough in these little containers, which is a different way of making soap dough than I usually do. And if you'd like to see how I usually do it, then I'll leave that link below and you can go check that video out. But the way she was doing it was all sorts of different colours, each in their own individual small container that she closed up, which kept them airtight. And she said it meant that the dough stayed like dough. So that's what I'm going to try and make. And I want to do a rainbow of different colours and hopefully have some really cool soap dough for future projects. So that will be fun. So come along with me and I'll show you how I do it. Squee! Okay, so as we usually do, we're going to add cooled lye water to cooled oils. Our oils contain a little bit of coconut milk, and that's why I mixed them a little bit. I really have found in the past that when my soap recipe has included a little bit of milk or even a little bit of produce like some pumpkin or something like that, it has made for better soap to make dough with. So that is why I have gone ahead and added that coconut milk. I didn't want like pumpkin or something that was going to leave a colour or a grainy look. So I went for coconut milk. You could also use goat's milk, or you could use coconut cream or plain yogurt. Anything like that I think really does help that final soap to have a little bit more of a malleable texture that you can work into a dough. The other thing I found has really helped with making my doughs is grating up the final soap really finely. So this is going to be my first time ever of trying to make a very small amount and then keeping it covered up so that it's airtight and hopefully doesn't harden too much, and then I can sort of keep it and use it. So this was a technique that I've heard about but I've never tried, so I thought, you know, why not, let's give it a go. I have a bunch of these little tiny containers. They each, all of the little ones hold about 50 grams and the big one holds 100. So I've got around about half a teaspoon of mica and about a whole teaspoon in the bigger one of each colour in each of the little cups there. And I've got my soap, which is unscented and has been brought to a light trace, and I'm going to go ahead and pour the soap into the colours and then blend them very thoroughly because I want to make sure that there's no clumps of mica and that it's all really well mixed through. So the idea is that I'm going to have this whole palette of soap dough to play with whenever I come to create the next project, and I love that. What I have found though, and it might have been my containers, they might be part of the problem, or it just might be the technique, or it might be my soap recipe, but mine did want to firm right up no matter how airtight I kept them. So my advice has always been with soap dough that once you make it, you want to shape it right away and then let it set hard, and that way you end up with your really intricate little topper, whether it's a flower or whatever, but it has firmed up rock hard like the rest of your soap. And other people's soap dough that I've seen, it can, and that I've tried other recipes as well, and they have tended to not firm up at the end. So they've been this lovely doughy consistency. I've been able to work with them and mold them into wonderful shapes, but then once I got the shape I wanted, it didn't set hard, and that kind of bothered me. That was definitely something that irked me. So that's why I wanted to show my video and my technique of how I make soap dough just using the ends and the scraps. But it is imperative that once I have formed it into a dough, I immediately shape it and sculpt it into whatever I want, whether that's, you know, balls or flowers or whatever, and then I can leave it and it will firm up nice and hard, and then that nice hard soap topper can go onto another soap and it will be rock hard like the rest of the soap. I really think that's important. Well, it is to me anyway. So I gave them all an initial mix using a stainless steel chopstick, and now I'm coming back through with my mini mixer. My mini mixer has stopped working, so I'm beating it with it. But I do find that it's helping to bring up any colour that's stuck on the bottom of these little cups and really make sure that we've got them really thoroughly mixed together, which I think is really important. And of course I've made a little bit of a mess, so I'll go around and clean that up as well. Clean the containers off so that they don't have soap on the outside of them, and just kind of keep mixing, making sure that I get every single colour beautifully blended. I definitely like the idea of making soap with the purpose of it becoming dough, right? But I don't think I would bother individually colouring the soap like this in the future. What I think I would do is I would just make some plain soap with no colourant in it and no fragrance in it, but make sure I add some coconut milk or cream or something like that, like I mentioned before, and then let it saponify, make sure that the lye is not active, and then you can work it into dough and then break that off into portions, add your mica straight to the dough and just work it in that way. And then you save yourself this whole step that I'm going through now of mixing everything. You end up with a really cool, brightly coloured soap dough as well. The third option that I have used in the past, and if you have watched that original video of me showing you how I make soap dough, you'll see this. And this happens for me whenever I get like a dark or a dirty coloured soap that I've made a soap dough out of, and I just paint the outside of the final thing with mica. So like I've done this with balls. I've made little tiny soap balls, and then I put them into a little bag with some mica, shake them all around, and the whole outside of them is coated, and it might look like it's a little blue soap ball, but then when you get into the center it's actually white. And I've done the same with my little soap roses. I've had like soap roses that I made out of a brown soap dough, and nobody wants brown flowers, so I painted them all up with some beautiful red mica. So there are a lot of ways that you can go around doing this. These colours, once I have mixed them and they all look so beautiful, they would have made such a cool in the pot swirl or something, or like a rainbow swirled soap. I can just see it now. So I think that, yeah, in the future, if I'm going to be making soap dough and I'm going to be trying to get every colour of the rainbow, I'll just make some plain soap and then I'll colour it once it's moulded into dough and then form it into things. As it went with this project, I ended up with these cups. They were getting hard on me. The soap in there was getting hard, even though I'd been told it wasn't going to, because it was in an airtight container. So I felt like I just have to hurry up and do something with them. So jump to the end, I ended up making a whole bunch of star logs, little tiny ones, using a clay extruder tool. So that's really fun. And then I could embed them into a Rainbow Starr soap. So that will be a future soap video for you guys to look forward to that I'm working on currently. So yeah, I can totally see how these beautiful rainbow colours, I want to do this again. I just think that there are probably easier ways to go about it. And unfortunately, because these didn't sort of keep, that was really the key to me. I really wanted these to keep and stay like little dough, and whenever I was ready I could just come back and make something, but that wasn't going to happen. this consistency that you're seeing now is how it was after about 2 days of saponification inside these little cups with the lids on, I might add. And at this stage it would have been great if I'd put some gloves on and started forming it into shapes right here, right now. Funnily enough, my instincts were telling me to do that, but for the interest of the experiment, I had to leave it. I really was hoping, like I say, that once I formed it into dough, it was going to stay as dough. So this is me just coming back and checking on it, basically, and I went through to mix every single colour, and every single colour was that consistency until I came to this red. Now, this was the red that I got from New Zealand Soap and Candle, and it turned the soap rock hard. I'm going to get a bowl and I'm going to show you just how crazy different it is. I actually contacted the supplier and I asked them, you know, is there anything else in the mica, and I talked about how it had behaved, and they said they'd had no problems with it. They basically shrugged me off. So I was like, okay, but I definitely won't be buying that again in the future. So living and learning. This is the mica. It was called Red Pearl Mica. In my other soap projects it has definitely gone pink, and then like in the final soap it has set as like this very dusty rose pink, and that's what you can see here. I've got like a very faded red, whereas you saw it when it was wet, it was a lovely bright red then. And it's also very crumbly, where all the other ones have that sort of squishy kind of like mashed potato consistency. This one is like dry and crumbly. So I'm adding a little bit more of that mica in, and I'm just going to try and mix it through because, you know me, I don't give up. I'm going to actually try to make this into a soap dough as well. I want red. I don't want to lose that shade of the rainbow. So I'm going to add a little bit of moisture back into it, and I'm going to use the heat from my hands, and I'm going to work it all into a dough. Now we are 5 days into saponification, and I'm ready to take these and turn them into dough. As you can see, they are crumbly. There's not that. I was hoping for a bit more of a fluid viscosity kind of like that pumpkin one that I showed you in the previous video, and obviously that coconut milk wasn't quite enough. I've got a dough here that wants to sort of shatter, and it shouldn't do that. It should hold together, and I should be able to work it. If you've ever made slime, like I recently made slime with my kids, and it taught me a lot about all of this. You with the slime, you really want one that you can pull and stretch, and that's kind of what you're going for with this soap dough. I realised here that I'm just not going to be able to get what I want, so I move on to another colour, and I'm going to move through the rainbow, so it doesn't matter if I have a little bit of yellow on my work surface, because I will work that into orange, and orange into red, and so on through the colour wheel, so it won't matter. But I also realise after I make a few of these that they're not quite getting to this dough consistency that I want, and I do think that something like if I had started working on them in that previous clip after only 2 days, then it would have worked better. I maybe left it a little bit too long, and then the doughs that I have sort of worked here, they don't stay squishy either in the containers. So it's a little bit disappointing, but on the night when I finally pulled them all out and sat in the lounge with the clay extruder tool for about 4 hours and pushed all of these colours through and ended up with all of these different star logs, that was the night when I realised that this kind of thing is so hard to film. It's so hard to show you and to translate on camera how much effort goes in and how tricky it is. I think that it really does depend what you're going to use the final soap dough for, what kind of consistency that you're going for. And I do think that it's sort of like, for me, because I do want that final thing to set hard, that it has to be, you have to just listen to the soap, you have to follow it, and you have to let it tell you and guide you a little bit. So that's why I knew that this was not going to be able to be formed into flowers. I was not going to be able to make it into anything intricate. I knew that I would probably be able to form it into a whole bunch of soapy balls, and that would have been fun. But because my lovely soapy sister Jennifer sent me this clay extruder tool, I was like, right. I sent her a message and I was like, do you want to collaborate, girl? And she's like, I do. And I'm like, let's collaborate. Let's make something with these extruder tools. So I pushed, for hours, I pushed soap dough through the extruder tool, and it got a really good upper body workout. And yeah, I really love my final soap. I can't wait to show that video to you guys. And then also, hopefully, Jennifer will have her video and we'll be able to watch them both on the same day. That'll be really cool. So, yeah, that's it for this rainbow soap dough video. I'm going to show you now my micas. They're in an ice cube tray, and they're dry. And then of course I'm going to show you my micas once I've added a little bit of olive oil and mixed them all up. It's so pretty. And yeah, the final pictures are of all of the work I did that night. So we've got all the colours, and they've been pushed through the extruder tool to make star logs, okay? And you can see by the frayed edges what I was talking about, that crumbliness, and why that dough was not going to work to make flowers or other intricate things. So that's kind of a shame, but I didn't give up, and I made these really, really cool different shades of star logs so that I can make super groovy star rainbow soap. Lots of fun. I really love how the pink and the purple came out, and I love how the teal came out. The teal was the one that was in the bigger container. I really love that mica, and I'm going to have to use that soon in an upcoming soap, I think, because I think it's a beautiful shade. This green is really pretty as well. And yeah, it was, like I say, a real workout doing them, pushing them all through the clay tool, but I love the final result. And I even made some little kind of patties, if you know what I mean, with some soap doughs pressed out really flat, and then made some little leaves using my fondant cutter. So that's what these are, some cute little soapy leaves. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit that subscribe button and become a member of the StarrSoaps family and feel the soapy love. And I'll see you guys next time.